husband tried to take my kids. Because I was a stay-at-home mom, the judge had other plans. My name is Emily Carter, and the day my husband looked me in the eyes and said, "You'll never get the kids, because you don't even have a job," something inside me broke. At first, I believed him. By the time the judge finished reading the evidence, though, it was my husband who walked out of that courtroom with nothing but regret. For 10 years, I was a stay-at-home mom. That wasn't because I was lazy. It was because my husband, Ryan, insisted it was best for the family. He wanted me home with our 2 children while he focused on building his career as a financial consultant. I packed lunches, helped with homework, cleaned the house, attended every parent-teacher conference, and stayed awake through every fever and nightmare. Ryan would tell everyone how lucky he was to have such a devoted wife. Behind closed doors, though, things were very different. He controlled every dollar. If I wanted new shoes for myself, I had to ask. If I bought groceries that were a little more expensive than usual, I'd have to explain every receipt. Whenever I suggested going back to work after our youngest started school, he'd smile and say, "Why? I make enough money. Just focus on being a mom." I didn't realize until much later that keeping me financially dependent wasn't love. It was control. One Friday evening, Ryan came home unusually cheerful. He sat me down at the kitchen table and calmly announced that he wanted a divorce. Before I could even process those words, he added, "And I'll be filing for full custody." I laughed because I thought he was joking. Then he said something I'll never forget. "The judge will never choose an unemployed woman over a successful businessman." I barely slept that night. The next morning, my mother-in-law arrived without calling. Instead of asking how I was doing, she looked at me and said, "Maybe it's best if you don't fight this. Children deserve financial stability." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I'd spent a decade raising those children, while her son missed birthdays, school plays, and family dinners, because work always came first. Yet somehow, I was the unfit parent. A week later, I met with a family lawyer. I expected her to tell me I didn't stand a chance. Instead, she leaned back in her chair and smiled. "Emily Pratt," she said, "being a stay-at-home mother doesn't make you a bad parent. In many custody cases, it actually demonstrates who has been the primary caregiver." For the first time in weeks, I felt hope. Then came the first twist. My lawyer asked me to gather every family photo, every school email, every doctor's appointment record, every text message, and every calendar I'd kept over the years. As I organized everything, a pattern became obvious. Ryan had hardly been involved. Almost every emergency contact listed only my name. Teachers emailed me, doctors called me, the kids' coaches texted me. Even Ryan's own messages often read, "I can't make it, handle it." Without realizing it, he documented years of absence. Still, he wasn't done. During the custody evaluation, Ryan painted himself as the perfect father. He claimed he attended school events regularly. He said he helped with homework every night. He even insisted he was the one who took our daughter to physical therapy after her bicycle accident. I sat quietly while he spoke, because I knew none of it was true. That was when the second twist happened. My lawyer subpoenaed attendance records from the school, security check-in logs, medical appointment records, even Ryan's work travel schedule. Every single document contradicted his testimony. The school principal confirmed I'd attended every conference. The pediatrician testified she'd never met Ryan until after the divorce filing. His company's travel records showed he was in another state. During several events he claimed to have attended, the courtroom became painfully quiet. Ryan suddenly looked much smaller than he had before. Then came the biggest surprise of all. My attorney discovered Ryan had been secretly telling friends and coworkers that he only wanted full custody because it would reduce the child support he'd have to pay. One of those coworkers, someone Ryan trusted, testified in court. He repeated Ryan's exact words. "I don't actually expect to raise them full time. I just don't want Emily getting my money." The entire courtroom froze. Even Ryan's attorney lowered his head. The judge asked Ryan if he wanted to explain. He couldn't. For the first time since this nightmare began, he had nothing to say. After a short recess, everyone returned to hear the decision. The judge looked directly at Ryan. She said custody isn't awarded based on who earns the bigger paycheck. It's awarded based on the best interests of the children. She explained that the evidence clearly showed I had been their primary caregiver throughout their lives. She also noted that Ryan had repeatedly provided false testimony under oath. Then, she announced her ruling. I was awarded primary physical custody. Ryan received scheduled parenting time. He was ordered to pay child support. He was also required to cover a portion of my legal fees because his dishonest testimony had unnecessarily prolonged the case. I didn't celebrate. I simply cried. Not because I'd won, because someone had finally seen the truth. 6 months later, I enrolled in an online certification program. A year after that, I started working remotely for a healthcare company. Today, I support myself while still being there for my children every afternoon when school ends. Ryan eventually apologized. Not because he suddenly respected me, because he realized manipulation doesn't survive evidence. Looking back, I understand something I wish every woman knew. A paycheck does not define motherhood. The meals you cook, the tears you wipe away, the homework you help with, the sleepless nights, the sacrifices no one notices. Those things have value. Real value. My husband believed staying home made me weak. The judge saw what it really made me, the parent who never stopped showing up. And in the end, that made all the difference.